And welcome into another podcast from the Oklahoma Sports Network on the Point After. And it's been a while because I've been knee deep into basketball, and I apologize. Usually on a weekly format, you just have the content going, but we were so busy during that final stretch and excited that so many Oklahoma Sports Network teams were in that final run because as we finished up with basketball, as you know, you had your with the districts, which was already planned out, and then you went for your area, your regionals, and then finally punching your regionals to area, and then finally to state, and that's the final eight in a class. And we were excited to have much representation between Midwest City, Dell City, Carl Albert for both boys and girls, and then Lawton High, which we're excited on the Southwest Oklahoma portion of the Oklahoma Sports Network to follow pretty much all season long with a lot of great games in the past archives. You can go back and watch their phenomenal year. But the lone horse in all the races right there ended up with Lawton High against Booker T in the boys division in Class 5A. And I got to make a little mention of it. And I know that the game and the outcome was not what the team wanted. And it was really probably one of their worst games that they played. And you hate to have that. Your worst game is going to be in a finals. But, for Lawton High, that's not familiar territory with them. Booker T, remember, lost to Midwest City just a year ago. And so that was on their minds. That was fresh to say, hey, we lost it. We came here and now we won it. And they played like that. And they went through the Midwest City and Dell City and they took care of business and then took care of Lawton High in the finale. But Lawton High, though, that was the first time they had made semifinals since 1986. This shows my age. It was my graduating year from high school, believe it or not. So that tells you a little bit how old I am. So 1986, the last time the semifinal appearance for a Lawton High team. The last time they were in a state finals was 1972. I was much younger then. And then one before that is before my time, actually, I can say. The last time Lawton High won a basketball championship in a class was 1962. And that was the year that they were kind of coined the home of champions because they won in all the major sports that year. They won in football, basketball, baseball. I think they even won in track. So they had that. So hats off to a great year. They only lost like 4 games on the season and unfortunately came up shy, but they did take home a silver ball. So a runner-up, a state runner-up, and that will include a banner in the gym. So I know that Coach Smith, who's only in his second year at the helm, said that was one of the things he wanted to change those banners. They're a little outdated, and he was right. So he's got one to hang, 2025 state runner-up to the Lawton High Wolverines. So a great year of basketball, and we appreciate all the support and all what we've seen. So now we got to switch gears a little bit, and it's, well, maybe more than a little bit. It's a lot. And I want to bring in our studio guest today is Bryson Colwell, who really kind of added this phenomenon to the Sports Network. And in fact, we kind of always say that sports is our middle name. And if it's a sport, we want to do it. So we were going to be introduced to racing for the first time ever on the network, and we're going to debut that with opening night at the I-44 Speedway coming up this Saturday at 7 o'clock. I'm excited, and I know, Bryson, you're a race fan, and I was really encouraged with how many that are working for us on a contractual basis. Was excited because as soon as we made the announcement, my phone was getting blown up with texts. Hey, I see you're doing racing. If you need any help, hey, I see that you're going to be at the I-40. I said, wow, okay, they've got such a great following. And one more thing before we get really started, the breakdown of the excitement is, when I was talking with, we had a little kind of a pre-run of where we were going to set up and what we were going to do this past Friday. And he was talking about the history of this track that a lot of people think of it in the past, meaning, oh, I remember going there when I grew up. In fact, he said that after I said that I really didn't know it existed, he says a lot of the comments that he'll get from time to time is, well, I thought that closed. They had 2 tornadoes rip through that track. And one of the famous racers that came through that got some support from some financial support to kind of build back the bleachers and stuff like that to bring it back into place. Because, without places like this, you can't really get a start if you're a driver that wants to advance into the professional level. So I was excited. I know you're excited. So tell me about the anticipation of what Saturday's going to bring for I-44 Raceway.
Well, first of all, thanks for having me. I appreciate it. This is cool. I love the platform that you provide across Oklahoma. So, yeah, no, being to kind of back up a little bit off of what you said, a lot of people remember watching motorsports as a kid with their parents or their grandpa, whatever. Uh, that's where my love came from. I've been going to motorsports events for 20 years. So I was 6 years old whenever I went to my first NASCAR race. Of course, this is a little different than your asphalt NASCAR. This is a dirt kind of a bull ring, if you will. Midgets, quarter midgets, wing midgets, different things like that. You mentioned Christopher Bell, the NASCAR driver who previously came through I 44 Speedway, had helped with some grandstands back in, I think that was like 2018. Helped them out whenever he was young in the Cup Series. Um, and I 44 has just got a great history. I 44's it seems to be a really special place. That this will be my first time ever actually attending a race there. I have watched some of the midget series, the World of Outlaw races there on some different platforms. So I'm just as excited as everybody else is to come out for opening day.
Well, and the other thing is too that I want to say the caveat that with what I know that racing and boxing is used to is paying for it on a subscription based in some kind of a pass that gets you to watch. We want to be able to say that this is for free and you can download it for free. You can watch for free. We got some great sponsors already that have can seen the vision that has started that, and there's still room for more. We can add that as well. But we're looking forward to it. So you just download the app, and I know that we're appealing to a new audience, so to speak, because the Oklahoma Sports Network, yes, it represents high school at its best in all of our channels. But I think people were used to when we started adding, for the last 3 years, we've done SNU rugby. So that was a college, a club sport that we brought in during the fall time. OSN-1 is also featured roller derby up in Edmond, and we're going to start that up here in about a month or so. And they run in the summer, and they have their events there, and we have those live at Edmond. And then we had OU lacrosse. In fact, we got lacrosse coming up sandwiched between these two on Friday and on Sunday at the OU campuses. So you've got that, and then you got racing, and then to do it for free. And we say, if you're very unfamiliar with how to find us, yes, we have a website at oksportsnet.com, but it's easiest, and I always say download the apps on Apple and Android devices just by searching the Oklahoma Sports Network. I did find out I was a big race car fan of mine that is on an Android device, and they had the latest update was kind of a hiccup, and they're having to work that out, but that will be up and running again. But we're also on Roku, Amazon Fire, and Apple TV. That's in home devices, and we're on YouTube. And when we go live Saturday, we're going to go live on Facebook, we're going to go live on YouTube, and then we're going to be live on the network. So either way, you can connect to us, but free to watch a night of racing. And that's why I want to bring you in as our guest. Kind of, I know there's a little bit of a pre-fam, thing. I think starts like at 5:00. Meet the drivers or something else like that before they have some stuff at 6 and stuff at 7. So give us a rundown of opening night and what that will look like up at I-44.
Well, yeah, just to kind of back up a little bit, thank you to our sponsors who have jumped on so far, Victory Racing Fuels and Victory Motorsports in Pauls Valley, Oklahoma. Obviously, plenty of more spots to jump in if you'd like to sponsor, and I'm sure we will fill some more of those as the season moves on. We're covering 8 weekends, definitely more than 8 nights of racing, but 8 weekends of racing. And opening night is going to look like a pretty typical evening in I 44. Most dirt tracks operate the same way. We're going to begin with hot laps, meet the drivers, different things like that. Cars will hit the track right around 6:30 for hot laps, is what I was being told. And then I believe heat races, they'll line them up at 7 and begin getting the starting order set for the A mains uh, well on into the night. You mentioned, Eric, this is going to be a free live stream. It's a big deal, not only to live stream something for free in general, whether it be high school sports or basketball. But to have racing for free, if you are a motorsports fan, you know that that is pretty rare. I myself am subscribed to a racing format that I pay, I think, like $99 a year to be able to watch some of the events that I like to watch. And if I had a couple of those in a free option, I know that would definitely be appealing, or I would be more willing to tune in. So we hope that everybody will give it a try. Uh, I am very biased, but motorsports in general is a great community, a great family friendly atmosphere. Given there's a lot of stereotypes around demographics or the type of activities that happen at these racetracks. And I can promise you, as somebody who began going at 6 years old, never felt unsafe, never felt like I was seeing things I shouldn't be seeing, always had a great time. And, adults, especially in the motorsports world, you see it at other sports. A guy will catch a foul ball and he'll immediately give it to a little kid. It's the same type of atmosphere. Everybody wants everybody to have a good time, and usually the people that don't are kind of escorted out. So
Yeah. Well, and it catches on. You pass that tradition on just like it was for you at a young man, and it stuck with you. And that's what it does with racing. You kind of become a racer for life. And I know when my sons went to their first NASCAR experience, and they were told, they say, you can see it on TV, yes, and you can get kind of it, but when you get the sights and the smells and the sounds of it, that's when you're going to get hooked. And you stand by the rail and you watch them go by and at a high rate of speed, and you smell the fumes and you smell all that, then you get racing fever. So I understand it. It's really nice that it's so easy and accessible to get to. If you've never been there, and I had not, I got to admit, I even knew it existed. And that's why another thing, they want to get the word out to know that, hey, there's racing right here, right outside in the metro. And if you're coming from Southwest Oklahoma on I-44, it's really the first exit. When you're coming into Moore, you take that exit. It's only a 1 point something miles off of the interstate. It's like 2 miles. It's like right there. In fact, when you get into track, you can back and look back and see the interstate there. That's how close you are. And if you're coming from the Oklahoma City area, then it's really the last exit before leaving, before you get into Newcastle. So it's right there. It's very intimate. I know you have to kind of, when you turn down the road, you got to go through a couple of like trucking situations that they've got some parking areas there. And then you kind of wind around and you'll find yourself just like right dead end right there before you get to the river, that you're going to see the track. And it's very close. It's intimate. It's a great experience. And so we're excited to bring it to you. I know you're going to be calling a lot of that with they have a track announcer that we're going to plug into. You're going to kind of coincide with helping out with that, bringing in some of those. We'll get some interviews with some of the winners and bring that kind of an experience to you, because I think, and they know this. I talked with them as we had our discussions about this and what we were going to bring to the table. They are quite aware that these are people that are not opting out for their racing experience and not coming. They know that racing fans, such as yourself, will find a way and they'll get there. These are people that cannot come to the race. So maybe their schedule didn't prohibit, but they can still connect into it and they'll get back to it. Or you introduce yourself, which I know the Oklahoma Sports Network, which is pretty much a fan base of the regular dietary things of what we give them, as I told you with high school sports. But now you're going to open it up to say, oh, I didn't know this. And I didn't know it existed. Or like what they said in our previous conversations, that they still get some people to say, oh yeah, I thought that closed long ago. All they heard was it was a track at one time. There was a couple of tornadoes that came through, and they just surmised that was the end of it. And it's not. And this is their opening night, and we want to make it a big night. We want to make it big on OSN-1. And I say that because if you have to go to the website, you got to find out what channel is it on. That's why I say if you download the app, and when you download the app, all the live content is in the top. And I have to, I have to re-educate people about the app, because a lot of people just, depend on the website. Website is fine. It's still there, but it links, that app shows all live content on the front. And so when I tell them, like football, for example, we've got 13 schools, all 13 games are right at the top, where you can just click into one, click in the other, and you don't have to look for it. It's there. And so we're app driven. I know most people are used to apps and having apps, but that's a great asset too. So yeah, looking forward to the ease and accessibility of catching on to us, and catching on to hopefully your enthusiasm for racing, and that gets passed on to those who can't come.
Yeah, opening night bound to be fun. Obviously, that's going to be a lot of the local drivers that run for championship points there at the track. Then when we come back toward the end of May, that's going to be one of the Now 600s that we're going to cover. And those are going to be fun. We're going to have a lot of viewers, in my opinion, a lot of drivers that are not from the Oklahoma City area, from all over Oklahoma, possibly all over the country. You never know who's going to show up. That's the beauty of this sport. I've been on a Wednesday night in southern Oklahoma and saw Tony Stewart and Casey Kane and Kenny Wallace, and very prominent names in motorsports that the dirt car community welcomes during the week or on and off night for NASCAR. It's very common that you could see a big motorsports name pop up at one of these events.
Well, and that's the connection to it. It really is a family. You said it's family oriented, and then you also say that they always remember their roots. I mean, you can go back as far as the Taft Stadium when there was a track there, and they had the tradition and history there of all the racing and who got their start there, and they actually kept the facade of the outside a wall there to make sure that people remember that part of history. And so there is a connection, and it is a family, and you kind of touched on it briefly, but there is going to be some other events later on that's going to be exciting that is already slated. And what does that look like when you talk about those 8 racing weekends we've got? There's some other stuff to look forward to.
I need to pull out my glasses and look a little old for just a second, but we definitely do. We've got 8 weekends. We'll have March 29th, weekly points night. May 23rd and 24th is our next weekend after that. That'll have the Now 600. That's Military Appreciation Night. So that'll be a really fun one. Then really quickly after that one, June 6th, we'll have the Now 600. July 4th and 5th, we'll have a weekly points night, just like opening night this upcoming weekend. That one is the All-American Showdown, obviously being on Independence Weekend. Should be a really fun time. The end of July, 25th and 26th, we'll have another Now 600. We'll have August 15th and 16th, the Mosquito Nationals. Of course, that one, another fun evening and weekly points racing as well. Then we will have the 29th of August. I believe that's 2 nights of racing. That one is not completely confirmed. I believe that one is a Now 600, but I will confirm soon. Nothing in September, and then at the end of October, we're doing opening night, and then we're doing closing weekend, October 24th and 25th. That's I-44 Speedway Park Champions Nights, and they will crown champions at the end of October. So we're going to be there from the first green flag to the last right here on Oklahoma Sports Network, right?
That's nice. That's nice. And I always joke with my racing fans, and they'll get this. I said, you guys never take off, do you? I said, I always see racing is always on. Oh, there's a little brief time. Was it a couple weeks or something where, one starts and then it ends and then it starts right back up again. So I said, you guys, you're the continuation sport. You're not one that just has a season. You have all year, and it's just from one to the other. Yeah.
The end of November to the beginning of February is usually.
Yeah, and that's short. That's a short stint. Just enough to go take your family on vacation and then come back and get ready for racing again. All right. Anything else in closing before we kind of close this edition out at all that you want to say?
No, just once again, huge thank you to Victory Motorsports in Pauls Valley, as well as Victory Racing Fuels. Uh, the day that we posted about that we were going to do this and that we needed sponsors, they immediately hopped in and said, "How can we help?" And so, can't thank them enough. Can't thank the track enough. Keenan, all those guys there, they have been super graceful to us, allowing us to jump into this and. Just hope you guys will tune in, and I'm really excited about the product that we're going to be putting out.
Yeah, having fun with it. That's the whole thing, because we love what we do. That's what I tell people. I say, why do you do it? And, all the rest of that, because we love what we do. And it's a continuation. And so, we're not just on and on again, off again. We're just a continuation of adding schools, adding sports. Sports is our middle name. We did a cornhole tournament just, a couple weeks ago as well. So, if it's a sport, we'll do it, and so we find our ways to connect. So we appreciate all of your involvement in it and your excitement to bring racing to the Oklahoma Sports Network, and I give credit to you for that. And those, like you mentioned, not only the sponsors but the track, to see our vision, because I know what we can do. And I didn't, when it was 9 years ago. This will start our 10th season coming up this next fall, about doing it a decade now. But we had people that when we explained what we were going to do, they really didn't understand it. One word was streaming. 10 years ago, what was streaming? Was that like audio on the website? What is streaming? Well, now you don't have to define what streaming is. And then another thing that we had to start out with is, well, how can I watch it on my TV? And this was about 10 years ago. We literally had to tell people, get an HDMI cord from your laptop and plug it into your TV, and that's how you can watch. Well, now Roku, Amazon Fire, Apple TV, YouTube, and then smartphones can project that to a set very easily. So there's so many things that we've grown, but I really appreciate and very loyal to those people that understand that they're buying into a vision. And it is our vision to bring to reality. And so we appreciate it. So this is another great opportunity, and we can't wait to get started on Saturday night about 7:00.
Appreciate everything, Eric. We will see you on Saturday.
Okay, so that's Bryson Colwell, and he is going to be live, of course, doing a lot of stuff for racing. We hopefully get him plugged in and a lot of other stuff. He's done basketball and football stuff for us before, so he loves sports and he loves to do it, and we love to have him. So that will wrap up this edition from the Cameron Studio podcast room, and I forgot to mention that in the beginning. I want to thank them for the opportunity for letting us use their facilities, because it is great to have this and for the point after for the Oklahoma Sports Network. So download the app. It's free to download, free to watch, and we'll see you Saturday night for the races. And, of course, we'll see you anywhere that we have. And connect to us, please, on all of our social media platforms, whether it be Facebook, whether it be Instagram, whether it be X, wherever you find yourself socially connected, we're connected there. So then you can kind of know what's coming up. You would have never known we had racing if you didn't connect with us socially. So please do that. So wrapping it up from the Cameron University podcast is another Point After, and you've been watching and listening to a production of the Oklahoma Sports Network.